The Galactic Tribunal erupted in applause the moment the verdict was announced. Humanity is guilty. War protocol activated. They thought it was a victory. They thought humans would panic, beg, kneel. Instead, the human ambassador didn't even blink. The chamber lights flickered. Monitors glitched. Every alien's instinct screamed run, because something ancient inside the human envoy ship had just woken up. A hidden AI decrypted a single command. War confirmed, all restrictions lifted. For the first time in 100,000 years, humanity's real fleets, the ones hidden beyond dark space, began to move. The ambassador slowly stood, eyes cold, voice calm. Congratulations. You just declared war on the most lethal species alive. And in that moment, every species finally understood. They hadn't provoked a primitive world. They had just awakened the apex predator of the galaxy. The Galactic Tribunal chamber was a masterpiece of alien architecture, spiraling columns of crystalline alloy, floating data glyphs shifting through 23 recognized languages, and a hovering audience gallery packed with thousands of delegates. Every species had shown up today, not for justice, but for spectacle. At the center stood a lone human. Ambassador Aline Ward, draped in the deep blue diplomatic mantle of Earth, hands calmly clasped behind her back. No escorts. No guards. No armor. Just a single human standing before an entire galaxy hungry to humble her species. The tribunal chair, a serpentine Ulrathian with shimmering gold eyes, struck the echo gavel. Humanity of soul, he hissed, you stand accused of technological aggression, unauthorized expansion, and the development of FTL compression gates in violation of Treaty 7 Alpha. A roar of approval surged through the chamber. Aline raised a brow. You mean the gates we invented because your outdated FTL lanes collapse if someone sneezes near them? A wave of hisses and outraged screeches filled the air. The chair slammed the echo gavel again. Humans have repeatedly destabilized the galactic order. Your advancements surpass your rank. You threaten the balance. Aline's voice remained level. We shared our medical breakthroughs. We modernized interstellar shipping. We offered defensive shields for free. And now we're accused of existing too efficiently. Several delegates whispered among themselves. Several others looked away, guilty. The truth stung. The Kuroth captain beside the chair leaned forward. Humans claim peace, yet you stockpile weapons. Aline smiled thinly. You mistake preparedness for hostility. You are cornered, the captain growled. Surrender your technology. Pay reparations. Accept supervision. The tribunal hall erupted in cheers. The vote was all but decided. But Aline didn't flinch. Didn't raise her voice. Didn't show one shred of fear. Instead, she calmly tapped her wrist. A small hologram flickered to life, Janus, the human diplomatic AI, appearing as a glowing sphere. Ambassador, the AI intoned, the tribunal has pre-voted. Probability of forced sanctions, 99.7%. Aline looked straight into the cluster of alien leaders. Let me be very clear, she said softly. Humanity will cooperate with any fair process. We will negotiate any reasonable demand. But if this tribunal believes it can threaten, control, or intimidate us. She stepped forward. The lights dimmed slightly, as if the chamber itself sensed something shift. You're making a mistake none of you can undo. The chair chuckled. Is that a warning, human? Aline tilted her head. No. It's a reminder. For the first time, a ripple of unease spread through the chamber. Not fear, yet. But something close. The chair sneered. Your threats are hollow. The tribunal will decide your fate today. Aline looked up at the towering arc of the council. And humanity, she answered, will remember who pushed first. Her voice echoed across the crystalline walls. The vote began. And somewhere above the planet, in the silent void of orbit, the human envoy ship stirred, systems awakening, power levels rising, anticipating the words that would change the galaxy forever. The tribunal floor darkened as the final glyph flashed across the air. War Protocol 0-1 passed. A thunderous cheer erupted from the galleries. Thousands of aliens rose in triumph. Some species slammed their claws against the railing. Others released trilling war songs. A few even threw petals, because to them, this was a celebration. Humanity, the upstart species from a backwater arm of the spiral, had finally been put in its place. Ambassador Aline Ward didn't move. She watched silently as the glowing glyph pulsed above her, confirming the verdict. She didn't blink. Didn't frown. Didn't sigh. She just stood there, expression calm, which terrified a few observant delegates. The chair leaned forward, savoring the moment. Humanity is hereby designated a Class 4 hostile force. Your fleets will be dismantled. Your colonies occupied. Your technology distributed among the rightful civilizations. Murmurs of greedy agreement rippled across the chamber. Then the words every species had been waiting for. War Protocol is activated. Gasps. Triumph. Excitement. But it was the silence from the human delegation, just Aline alone, that suddenly felt wrong. The Kuroth captain barked, "Why do you not protest? Do you think you can survive this?" Aline lifted her wrist slightly. "Janice," she said quietly, "confirm receipt." The AI projected a soft pulse of light. "Confirmed. Transmission authenticated. The Tribunal's declaration has been logged. Routing to Strategic Command and Legacy Vaults." Legacy Vaults. Most in the room didn't know what that meant. But one elderly historian in the back suddenly went pale. Aline looked up at the sea of triumphant faces. "You believe we will panic," she said, voice even. "You assume we will kneel, or beg, or bargain." Her eyes sharpened, no anger, just clarity. "But you have no idea who you just challenged." Laughter rippled across the chamber. The chair slammed the gavel. "Enough theatrics. Humanity is nothing but." And then it happened. The entire planetary capital flickered. Lights dimmed. Gravity stuttered. Holopanels froze. Every floating glyph in the chamber collapsed into static. A deep vibration rolled through the floor, as though something enormous had awakened just beneath them. Aline didn't even look surprised. Far above, in the void of orbit, the human envoy ship, small, discreet, seemingly unarmed, suddenly lit up. Dozens of dormant systems reactivated. Quantum locks broke. Dark energy conduits charged. Across the galaxy, in forgotten regions and abandoned star sectors, long dark signal buoys blinked to life for the first time in 100,000 years. Whatever the tribunal expected. This wasn't it. Janice spoke again, voice now lower, resonant, older. "War confirmed. Releasing all restrictions. Awakening Oversight Fleet. CloakNet expansion at 8%. Estimated full activation, 14 minutes. Delegates stared in horror. What have you done?" the chair stammered. Aline finally allowed herself a faint smile. "You wanted a war," she said softly. "You're about to get one." A hush fell heavy over the chamber. "Congratulations," she added, voice carrying through the terror-frozen hall. "You just declared war on the most lethal species alive." No one cheered now. No one moved. For the first time in their long history, the Galactic Tribunal felt something humanity had mastered long ago. Fear. Panic rippled through the tribunal like a physical force. Delegates scrambled for their data slates, but every interface was dead. The chamber's lights flickered back on in a sickly, unstable glow, and a deep alarm began to pulse through the capital. Whoom, whoom, whoom. Aline Ward remained perfectly still. Far above the planet, the small human envoy ship, once considered a harmless diplomatic vessel, was unfolding. Panels retracted. Hidden ports opened. Something ancient and frightening hummed beneath its hull. The Kuroth captain slammed his claw on the emergency console. Activate planetary shields. Now. Nothing responded. Systems across the world were frozen. Janus' voice echoed from every broken console in the chamber. CloakNet Phase 1 deployed. Planetary networks suppressed. External communications severed. A collective shudder passed through the aliens. CloakNet. They had heard rumors, a theoretical human project capable of bending sensor data and corrupting digital infrastructure across entire star clusters. Everyone assumed it was a myth. Until now. The chair's scales dulled with fear. Why you dare attack the tribunal homeworld? Aline shook her head. We haven't fired a shot. But our systems, the chair sputtered. Aline stepped forward, her voice cutting through the chaos with surgical calm. Humans do not begin wars conventionally. We don't charge in. We don't bomb cities. We don't attack in the primitive ways your empires do. She tapped her wrist. A projection appeared, dozens of alien fleets mobilizing near human space. The tribunal delegates gasped. If humans were launching a first strike, these fleets would be the first targets. But Janus spoke again. Correction, no kinetic engagement initiated. Humanity's first strike is strategic. A new star map appeared, updating in real time. One by one, glowing nodes, representing essential infrastructure across the galaxy, began flickering out. Shipyards. FTL relays. Trade routes. Fuel depots. Command hubs. Military foundries. Sensor arrays. Quantum archives. Border listening posts. All going dark. All instantly useless. Delegates stared in horror as thousands of red failure markers spread across the map like a disease. Aline clasped her hands behind her back. Your fleets depend on supply lines, she said. Your empires depend on communications. Your command structures depend on relay networks. She tilted her head. We removed them. The Ulrathian chair shook violently. This is devastation. Aline blinked. No. This is mercy. The projection shifted, now showing the massive fleet stationed near human territory. Thousands of warships. Hundreds of dreadnoughts. Countless fighters. Frozen. Dead in space. Helpless. Without supply lines, Aline continued calmly. Your fleets cannot move. They cannot fire. They cannot even navigate. A hush fell across the chamber as the galaxy realized the horrifying truth. Humanity had won the war without firing a single missile. The Kuroth captain collapsed into his seat. This is impossible. No species can plan strategic dominance across a galaxy. Aline didn't look at him. We're not a species in warfare, she answered quietly. We are a civilization that survived 1,000 self-made apocalypses. We learned. We adapted. We prepared. Another update pinged across the broken consoles. All tribunal-aligned fleets immobilized. 0 casualties inflicted. War readiness, 12%. The number terrified them more than anything else. This was just the beginning? Aline glanced around the silent chamber. I warned you. Humanity doesn't fight for territory. Her voice lowered. We fight for checkmate. She turned toward the exit as guards hesitated, unsure if they should stop her. Your first strike fantasies involved destroying Earth. Our first strike? We simply removed your ability to strike at all. And with that, she walked out. Behind her, the galaxy's greatest powers, once proud, once arrogant, sat trembling in cold, overwhelming fear. Aline Ward had taken only 3 steps toward the exit before the massive crystalline doors slammed shut, locking all of them inside. The Ulrathian chair snapped, "Open this at once." Janus replied through every speaker. Containment required. De-escalation protocol active. Containment? Delegates looked around as a translucent barrier formed over the walls, humming with energy. Aline didn't even turn around. "It's for your safety," she said. "Panic makes empires do stupid things." The chair hissed. "Explain your capabilities, human." Aline drew a slow breath. "Very well." A hologram from her wrist projector expanded, covering the entire ceiling. Not a ship. Not a weapon. A timeline. Aline began. Humanity did not grow strong by expanding. We grew strong by surviving ourselves. Images flickered across the dome. The heatfall era, when Earth nearly boiled after a solar megastorm. The singularity schism, when AIs nearly surpassed humanity's control thresholds. The moonfall collision, a rogue dwarf planet impacting Luna. The Orion extinction war, a war so catastrophic that humanity erased its own records out of shame and horror. Delegates murmured in shock. These were events older than most empires. Aline continued. Your species evolved through slow millennia. You grow stronger by conquering neighbors. You advance only under threat. She looked around. Humanity advances constantly. With or without conflict. With or without enemies. Another hologram appeared, this one showing a human soldier stepping into a sleek dark suit that bonded to the skin like living metal. Post-biological warfare evolution, Aline explained. No more chemical armor. No more physical controls. Neural-linked quantum exosuits that think faster than their wearer. The suits split into countless microlattices, reconfiguring into drones, blades, shields, and strange shapes the aliens didn't even have names for. Gasps filled the chamber. Ships. But not ships any species recognized. These weren't bulky dreadnoughts or giant carriers. They were sleek, minimal, silent, like pieces of dark space itself. Phantom-class vessels, Aline said. Travel through what we call dark space lanes, regions of spacetime you haven't discovered yet. The Kuroth captain croaked, "That's impossible." Aline tapped the hologram. A Phantom-class ship simply vanished. Not warped. Not cloaked. Gone. Your sensors can't detect them because your physics models are incomplete, she said. Humans didn't evolve biology. We evolved methodology. The alien stared as the ship rematerialized behind an entire enemy fleet, undetected. And now you understand, Aline concluded. Why humanity avoided military escalation for the last 100 millennia. She paused. We weren't hiding weakness. We were hiding capability. Janus' voice deepened, resonant, ancient. Oversight fleet awakening. Cycle completion, 22%. The Olrathian chair collapsed onto his seat. Oversight. What is oversight? Aline's expression softened, just a fraction. Oversight fleet is not a weapon. It is a promise. A promise, someone whispered. Aline nodded. After the Orion extinction war, humanity realized something terrifying. She turned toward the delegates, voice quiet and steady. If we ever unleashed our full potential against another species, we might not stop. A chilling silence. So we locked our power away, she said. In vaults. In dormant fleets. In AIs like Janus, designed to act only if humanity was threatened with unjust extinction. She looked around the terrified room. You didn't just declare war. You triggered a safeguard older than your civilizations. The aliens were no longer angry. No longer arrogant. They were scared. Scared in a way that transcended fear, something primal, instinctive, like prey realizing a predator has been standing behind them for a very long time. The Olrathian chair whispered. We thought you were a young species. Aline nodded. You thought wrong. The lights flickered again as Janus' voice rumbled. Oversight fleet awakening, 38%. Every delegate felt their blood run cold. Aline finally turned toward them. This is humanity's true evolution, she said gently. We survived everything. We prepared for anything. And we hid our strength because we hoped, truly hoped, we would never need to use it. She paused at the center of the chamber. But you forced our hand. The tribunal chambers, once buzzing with authority, arrogance, and bureaucratic pride, now felt hollow. The air was heavy, thick with realization and fear. Every delegate stared at the holographic displays now returning to life, each showing the same simple message. War declaration revoked, negotiation request sent to humanity. But humanity did not answer. Not yet. The silence was deliberate, controlled, measured. And the galaxy knew it. Humanity was not ignoring them. Humanity was evaluating them. Hours later, though it felt like days, the chamber doors opened again. Every head snapped toward the entrance. Aline Ward returned. No guards. No escort. Just a single human walking into a hall full of terrified species. She stopped at the center dais and glanced at the trembling tribunal leaders. Her gaze said everything. You started a war. You almost forced extinction. And now you want peace? The Olrathian chair bowed his head, something no Olrathian had ever done to a human. Ambassador Ward. Humanity has our deepest apologies. The words shook. Aline remained silent. The Kuroth captain stepped forward, voice cracking. We were blinded by pride. By fear. By our own assumptions. We humbly request terms for peace. Aline studied him for a long, painful moment. Finally, she spoke. Very well, she said calmly. We will offer terms. Every delegate leaned forward, slowly, cautiously, like prey hoping the predator might spare them. Aline raised 3 fingers. 3 conditions. Nothing more. Nothing less. Janice appeared beside her, silent and glowing. Condition 1, no more fear-based sanctions. Humanity will no longer be targeted for its technological progress. No more suppression treaties. No more rank tiers designed to keep emerging civilizations weak. Delegates exchanged uneasy glances. Aline's voice remained steady. We advance because we must. We will not slow down for your comfort. Condition 2, immediate restoration of trust. All fleets mobilized against humanity will stand down. Every star nation will dispatch observers to human space, not as monitors, but as students. The chair blinked. Students. Aline nodded. You declared war because you feared what you didn't understand. So you will learn. Whispers spread across the hall. The idea was humiliating. But refusing was suicide. Condition 3, a monument. This one hit hardest. In every major capital, Aline continued. You will construct a monument acknowledging the day you nearly destroyed yourselves with arrogance. Her expression softened, just a fraction. And acknowledging that humanity chose restraint over annihilation. The hall fell into stunned silence. Aline stepped back. These are your terms. Accept them, or continue a war you cannot win. The tribunal had never agreed so quickly on anything. All 600 delegates voted at once. No debate. No objections. Every screen in the chamber illuminated. Terms accepted, unanimous. Their submission was absolute. The lights flickered. Janice's voice echoed through the chamber. Oversight fleet entering standby. Cloaknet disengaging. Galactic systems restored. Across the galaxy. Immobilized fleets powered back up. Frozen relay networks rebooted. Disabled stations hummed to life. Not a single ship was harmed. Not a single life lost. The galaxy had been held by the throat. And then gently released. Aline exhaled, her first sign of relief in hours. You have chosen wisely, she said. For the first time since the conflict began, something changed in the eyes of the tribunal. Fear didn't vanish. But something new emerged beneath it. Respect. True, deep, instinctive respect. Not for humanity's weapons. Not for their ships. Not for their technology. But for humanity's restraint. Their discipline. Their terrifying ability to win a war. Without ever fighting one. Aline Ward looked over the silent assembly. Let today mark the start of something new, she said. Not dominance. Not submission. But understanding. Her final words echoed like prophecy. Humanity will not be the galaxy's conqueror. But we will never again be its victim. And as she turned to leave, every species in the tribunal finally understood something that had taken them too long to learn. They had not declared war on a human empire. They had declared war on the apex survivors of the universe. And somehow, miraculously, they were still alive to learn from it. Silence. For a full minute, the entire Galactic Tribunal chamber sat frozen. Thousands of species, diplomats, warlords, admirals, all staring at the blue hologram shimmering above the hall. The message had repeated twice. This was not an act of aggression. This was a demonstration of restraint. Every word delivered in the soft, calm tone humans were known for. The tone every alien now understood meant something far worse than anger. It meant certainty. It meant control. It meant humans weren't even trying. High Chancellor Draxel's claws trembled as she whispered. Restraint. They erased a fleet. Across the room, the Voctal representative whispered a prayer to his ancestors. Beside him, the Cyrix ambassador was already transmitting evacuation orders. And then the hologram continued. If you continue war protocol, you will force us to reveal our full capabilities. We prefer peace. But do not mistake preference for limitation. The aliens felt it. A cold, ancient weight behind the words, like something enormous was listening. Like the humans weren't speaking alone. Behind the human ambassador, the air crackled. Reality twisted. A figure materialized. Not human, not machine, but an eerie hybrid of both. The Astria's Sentinel. A myth. A legend. A weapon older than most starfaring species. Its voice carried through the hall like a shifting tide of static. We were built for extinction-level conflicts. Your fleets do not qualify. The chamber erupted. Some demanded surrender. Some demanded negotiations. Some screamed that humanity must be banned from existence. But none dared attack. None. Because they all sensed it now. Humanity had been hiding a civilization far beyond the Council's imagination. A civilization that had mastered dark space physics, weaponized gravitational microtears, and created warforms that made dreadnoughts look like toys. And then, as the tribunal spiraled into chaos, the human ambassador raised her hand. The room fell dead silent. Her voice was steady, controlled, terrifyingly calm. You declared war. We declared boundaries. Choose wisely. Because the next message you receive will be our final decision. The hologram faded. The sentinel vanished. The humans turned and walked out. The giant doors sealed behind them with a booming echo that felt like a funeral bell. Across the galaxy, trillions watched in horror as the broadcast replayed. Every species knew what came next. A choice. Submit. Or be erased. And for the first time in galactic history, the galaxy feared not a weapon, not an empire, not a species, but a single sentence. Humanity has not yet begun to fight. The galaxy had never been quieter. Not because of peace. Not because of negotiation. Because everything that could move, everything that could strike, was immobilized. Fleets across hundreds of star systems, dreadnoughts, frigates, strike carriers, and fighter wings sat frozen in orbit or drifted aimlessly through warp corridors. Systems had failed. Navigation grids had collapsed. Weaponry had gone inert. All of it controlled by a species no one truly understood. Back on the capital world, the tribunal convened emergency sessions day and night. The Olrathian chair banged the gavel, but it made no difference. The human envoy was gone. No new messages. No attacks. Still, the galaxy trembled. "What are they waiting for?" demanded Voctal General Strix. "They could annihilate us all in a heartbeat." The room remained silent. Everyone knew the answer: humans were not attacking, yet. And the uncertainty was unbearable. A Kuroth admiral whispered to his counterpart, "They are calculating. They are always calculating. And we don't even know the rules of their game." No one argued. No one laughed. Everyone knew the truth: the humans controlled the battlefield without ever firing a shot. Across the galaxy, word of the silent armadas spread. Planets under human observation were never touched, yet all nearby fleets refused to move. Supply chains collapsed for hostile empires. Trade convoys vanished from star charts without a single warning shot. Every species felt it. Every empire understood it. Humanity's power wasn't in destruction. It was in precision, control, and timing. They could obliterate anyone at will, but they chose restraint. And that restraint terrified every civilization more than any fleet ever could. The tribunal tried to contact the humans. No response. They sent emissaries. Blocked. They attempted shows of force. Nullified before engines even spun up. Panic gripped the council. Reports of alien rebellions, fleet mutinies, and colony evacuations flooded in. Every empire was scrambling to adapt to the unthinkable. Humans didn't fight for conquest, they fought for dominance without killing. For the first time, the galaxy understood something it had never grasped. Humanity didn't wage wars, they redefined them. Far in the dark corners of uncharted space, hidden fleets stirred. Hundreds of human vessels, sleek and shadowy, slipped between stars unnoticed. Not for battle. Not for conquest. For observation. Each silent ship monitored potential threats, ready to strike instantly, but not yet. A single signal repeated across encrypted channels. All systems dormant. All measures controlled. Warning thresholds exceeded. The galaxy learned an unspoken truth: humans were everywhere and nowhere. They had become the ultimate apex predators. Without ever hunting. The galaxy had learned fear, but it had yet to learn respect. News of the human silent armadas and immobilized fleets spread faster than any hyperwave. In every star system, governments convened emergency councils. Merchants abandoned trade routes. Colonies shut down communications. Military commanders questioned everything they knew about strategy. And everywhere, the same chilling message echoed in whispers and encrypted comms. Humanity has not yet begun to fight. Desperate, the Galactic Tribunal sent a universal alert. To all species, humanity is observing. All hostile activity against human space or citizens will be met with maximum response. Compliance is required. Any provocation may trigger catastrophic retaliation. For most species, it was too late to comply, or perhaps they already had. The few who ignored the warning saw entire fleets fail in mid-warp, trapped in frozen orbits, or lost communication with command nodes. The tribunal's message carried authority, but humanity's silent presence carried something else entirely: certainty. Every empire, from the smallest mining colony to the largest capital world, now faced an uncomfortable reality. Humanity was not just powerful. They were inevitable. Scientists recalculated human capabilities, realizing that past intelligence had vastly underestimated their tech. Admirals debated for hours over whether humans had fleets in multiple quadrants simultaneously. Spy networks reported glimpses of dark, sleek vessels and systems previously thought empty. Every empire experienced a collective existential crisis. The humans had demonstrated restraint, but the restraint itself was a weapon. Across all channels, a single untraceable human transmission appeared. "You have declared war on the apex species of the galaxy. You have immobilized your own fleets. You have endangered countless lives. Humanity will not intervene, yet. Consider this your final warning. No signatures. No flags. No traceable origin. But the galaxy understood it was human. Every leader read it. Every fleet commander received it. Every intelligence officer analyzed it. The message was simple and terrifying. Humans could act anywhere, anytime, and the galaxy would never know until it was too late. For the first time in galactic history, fear replaced politics as the driving force. Strategic plans were abandoned. Wars that had simmered for decades were postponed indefinitely. Colonies seeking independence demanded negotiations with humans instead of opposing them. Even the tribunal understood the gravity of the lesson. Humanity had not killed a single alien yet, but in doing so, it had rewritten the rules of galactic order. Every species realized the same terrifying truth. To provoke humans was to invite an enemy that didn't need to fight to win. The galaxy had fallen silent. Fleets immobilized. Colonies frozen in uncertainty. The tribunal shaken to its core. Yet across all of space, not a single human vessel had fired a shot. Not a single life had been taken. Not a single world had been destroyed. And that was the point. Ambassador Aline Ward appeared in orbit above the tribunal capital for the final time. Her ship was sleek, black as the void, its hull reflecting the shattered lights of thousands of civilizations. No fleet flanked her. No weapons were visible. She didn't need them. She activated a universal broadcast, speaking directly to every corner of the galaxy. Species of the galaxy, her calm, unwavering voice echoed. Your fleets are immobilized. Your colonies tremble. Your leaders plead for mercy. Not because we attacked you. Not because we wanted to. But because you forced our hand by your arrogance. Aline continued, each word deliberate. Humanity does not fight like other species. We do not wage wars for territory, for pride, or for conquest. We fight to survive. We fight to end threats decisively. And we fight to ensure the mistakes of the past are never repeated. The holographic projection behind her expanded, showing human fleets gliding silently through space, dark, untouchable, omnipresent yet unseen. This is humanity's offer. Peace. Respect. And the knowledge that no force in this galaxy can threaten us without paying the highest price. Her eyes swept across every star system, as if seeing every being at once. Take this lesson seriously. We are not your enemies. We are the species that will endure. The species that will adapt. The species that will survive, at any cost. Silence fell for long minutes. Then the Olrathian chair spoke, voice trembling. Humans, we understand. We submit. We apologize. We will honor your terms. Across star systems, the same reactions echoed. Fleets deactivated by command rather than human intervention. Trade routes cautiously reopened. Colonies cautiously resuming activity. Respect replaced fear, not because humanity demanded it, but because they had earned it. Aline deactivated the broadcast. Her ship powered down systems to standby, returning to silent orbit, a ghost in the void. Janice's voice filled the quiet cabin. Humanity's intervention complete. Galactic compliance, 100%. All systems restored. No casualties recorded. Aline exhaled, the tension finally leaving her shoulders. She spoke quietly to herself. The galaxy has learned a lesson. We did not destroy. We did not conquer. We merely reminded them who survives. Children in schools, historians in archives, and diplomats in chambers all learned the same phrase. You do not declare war on humanity. It became a law of instinct, a principle etched into the psyche of every species. Not because humans were cruel. Not because they were tyrants. But because they were the apex survivors of the universe. Strategic, disciplined, and terrifyingly patient. Humanity had walked into war unprovoked, and yet emerged not as conquerors, but as the ultimate standard of strength and restraint. And in the silent void of space, as fleets resumed their courses and stars resumed their normal rhythms, one truth echoed across the galaxy. Humanity will endure. Humanity will adapt. Humanity will survive. And that alone was enough to make the galaxy tremble,